The Horus Heresy witnessed some of the most bloody and brutal conflicts in the Imperium's history, with entire legions of Astartes tearing one another, entire worlds and humanity's empire apart. And yet even some of those horrific battles pale in comparison to what came after Horus was defeated, and in my mind there are a few greater examples of that than the Iron Cage incident. To set the context, following Horus's defeat, the traitor legions were cast back from Terra and retreated to their own systems and worlds. The Loyalists, having spent years on the defensive and faced with the tragic losses they and their emperor had paid, threw off any notions of respite and set out on a campaign of revenge and spite known as the Scouring. But while many of the other Primarchs sought to settle their own rivalries, Rogel Dawn and his Imperial Fist sought out one foe above all others, Perturabo and his Iron Warriors. World by conquered world, the Imperial Fist began to uproot the Iron Warriors, with Dawn proclaiming that he would bring Perturabo back to Terra as a prisoner bound in an iron cage. Sensing an opportunity to settle things once and for all, the Lord of Iron decided to lay a cunning trap for his stoic brother, building an enormous structure on Sebastus IV called the Eternal Fortress. Composed of over 20 miles of bunkers, towers, minefields, trenches and defensive batteries, this fortress was designed solely to wear the Imperial Fist down and ensure every inch was paid for with overwhelming Loyalist casualties. As the Imperial Fist entered high orbit over the planet, they were immediately engaged by orbital silos arrayed around the fortress itself. As smaller ships began to be picked off, Dawn was forced to deploy his forces to the surface and, in a surprising moment of rashness, ordered the entire legion to descend. This was the signal Perturabo wanted, and he detonated the orbital silos, blanketing the atmosphere in a nuclear haze that disrupted communication between the fleet and the ground forces. At the same moment, the Iron Warriors fleet made its move, assaulting the Loyalists in orbit and forcing them to fight on two fronts. For almost 4 solar weeks, the Imperial Fist fought a desperate struggle to crack the Eternal Fortress as the Iron Warriors lured them into Perturabo's planned traps and kill zones. Week by week, their tactical organisation broke down and the conflict devolved into countless individual engagements that were hopelessly outgunned. Soon, even the Loyalist ammunition ran dry and the Imperial Fist were forced to fight hand to hand in bloody trenches, using the mud and their fallen battle brothers as cover. Sebastus IV was about to witness the shattering of another Imperial Legion until Guilliman and his Ultramarines arrived to break the stalemate. Perturabo could not resist this combined force and, with hundreds of fallen Imperial Fists and their gene seed in his possession, withdrew to the Eye of Terror, offering that gene seed in exchange for the gift of Ascension. In the end though, no victor truly walked away from that conflict, only survivors, and the proof that the pride of the Primarchs would continue to cost the Imperium for millennia to come.